Chapter 4: Low cost home franchises, business packages, and multi level marketing. Are they any good? Sometimes it seems like the hottest business of the decade is the business of the selling business opportunities. Open any magazine aimed at small business owners and people who want to start businesses, and you will see page after page of ads promising to help you get started in allegedly lucrative businesses. You'll find ads for franchises that will put you into the exploding service industry, ads promoting to send you confidential reports about some questionable new home business opportunity, and ads for franchises with familiar names like Dunkin' Donuts or Jiffy Lube. Reading these ads is one way to answer the universal question, what kind of business can I start? But will purchasing the franchise or business plans or equipment advised in such ads really lead to easy money? Here are some tips and real life experiences to help you decide. Is buying a franchise a good way to go into business? It can be. In 1990, over 600 billion in sales, about 34% of all retail sales were made through franchised establishments. While not every franchise or every franchise owner is successful, franchising does reduce some of the risk of launching a new business by letting you copy a business concept someone else has already made successful. What specific benefits does a franchise offer? Depending on the franchise, among the benefits you might gain are a business concept with a track record for success, name recognition for the business, management training, access to proprietary methods and or processes used in the business, a ready-made business or marketing plan to follow, ready-made ads, brochures, and other sales and marketing aids, help with financing. What are the disadvantages? The security you acquire by licensing someone else's business methods and practices has its price. Among the drawbacks of being a franchise are your startup costs can be high. You will have to follow the franchise's rules. That means you might have limitations placed on everything from what products and services you sell to what goes into ads, where you are allowed to sell, and even how your business is furnished. You will have to pay a percentage of your sales and a flat fee to the franchisor, company from which you purchase the franchise each year. Your success is dependent in many respects on the talents, foresight, and stability of the franchisor. You will be locked into the terms of the contract with the franchisor whether your operation is successful or not. What should I look for in a franchise? First and foremost, you want to look for a franchise that sells a product or service you would enjoy producing or selling. Your best bet is to find a franchise in an industry you know at least a little bit about. All too typical is the case of the Chicago car salesman who decided to change careers and go into business for himself. He bought a basement waterproofing franchise, but then found the business boring. He wanted to sell it, but sales weren't as high as he had expected. They would be, and he had trouble finding a buyer. He was stuck paying off the franchise fee and working at a business he didn't enjoy. Once you've pinned down some possibilities, you should get and carefully scrutinize a disclosure document called the Union Franchise Offering Circular, the UFOC, for the franchise or the franchises you are interested in. This disclosure document will give you the information you need to help you determine the answer to these and other important questions. How stable is the franchise, and what is the background of its officers? Any history of litigation or bankruptcy of the franchise or its officer is supposed to be included in the UFOC. What will all your cost of purchase be? Advertising, training, inventory, insurance, and all other costs in addition to the franchise fee and royalties should be spelled out. How well established is the franchise? Have they been in business for many years or are they brand new? How many other franchises have they opened and where are they located? What kind of track record do they have? Have most of their franchises been successful? Names and addresses of franchises in the state should be provided before you sign any contract. Call the people on the list and ask about their experiences. What kind of training and support will they provide as part of your franchise fee? How close to your store can the franchisor let another franchisee set up shop? Will you be required to purchase supplies or products from the parent company? If so, compare your costs to the local retail prices of the same goods. There has been instances where the price for the franchise company for goods was higher than the price of the same goods in local retail stores. Selling anything under such conditions would be quite difficult. What do the contract terms say about ownership? Can you sell out to someone else if you wish? If you want to continue when the contract expires, will it be automatically renewed? Will you be able to convert your store into an independent operation if you should want to? Determine how disputes will be handled should they arise. Watch for clauses requiring arbitration in the franchisor's home if it is indifferent than yours. Should a dispute arise, you'd have to travel to that state for arbitration hearings. What criteria does the franchise use in selecting franchises? Do they do any screening? Or do they seem more interested in getting your franchise fee? Does the franchise use high-pressure sales techniques to get you to sign on the dotted line? Do you like the people you are dealing with? How big is the market for the franchises, products, or services in your area, and how much competition is there now? Will the franchise limit competition? The franchise will generally give you a territory in which you may operate and agree to allow anyone else to open one of their franchises in your territory. However, they have no control on competing franchisors opening up a franchise in your territory. For example, if you own a PIP quick print franchise, a McPrint outlet may very well open across the street, and they have no power to keep independents with the same type of business from opening in your area. Two other things you need to watch out for are the size of your territory and that any verbal territory claims or promises actually get included in your final contract. No matter how helpful and friendly the company may be, when push comes to shove, the only thing that matters is what is in your contract. A franchisee for a company that sells products to a very specific niche market learned that lesson the hard way. He signed a contract with the franchise to open a store in a suburb East Coast company. His contract with the franchise stated that competing stores had to be located at least 7 miles away from one another. When he questioned whether this allowed proximity might hinder business, he was shown figures indicating that stores in a nearby city were profitable even though they were that close together, and was also told the franchise company wasn't planning to open any other stores in his state for 3 years. Thus, they said he would have plenty of opportunity to build his business and become established. Less than 1 year later, a second store from the same franchise company was opened in the area. The store was more than 7 miles away from the first one, but close enough to seriously cut into the business. Warns the owner, buyers beware. A 7 mile territory in a densely populated city may be fine, but 7 miles is nothing for some kinds of businesses in the suburbs. You wind up doing the advertising for the other store. Can I get copies of franchises uniforms, franchises offering circulations, the UFOCs, before I talk to any franchise management so I can compare several before calling a company? There is a company called Frandata that can send most franchises, the UFOCs, to you for a fee. You can reach that company for information by calling or writing Frandata, 1130 Connecticut Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20036, 202-659-8640. What will it cost to buy a franchise? Depending on which franchise you are interested in, your initial franchise fee could be at least as little as 1,000 or as much as 100,000 or more. On top of any initial fees will be other startup costs, which could run from a few $1,000s to $500,000 or more. What's involved in running a franchise? Even if you will be able to hire other people, you yourself will need to know how to operate all phases of the business, since you may need to train employees or to fill in for them when they are absent or if they leave. You will also need to be a good manager and a salesperson and keep good records. Can I avoid market research by buying a franchise? No. While the franchise company may help you with the site selection and other details, there is no substitute for doing your own research. Remember, a franchise isn't something you can walk away from easily if it doesn't work out. Therefore, before you sign the franchise agreement, make sure you determine how many sales you will have to make to be profitable and whether your territory has a population and the demand to make it likely that you can reach that sales figure even if a competitor opens. Can I sell the franchise? Some franchises allow you to sell if you can find a buyer, and some don't. The UFOC will tell you what the franchise's regulations are regarding sales or transfer of your contract to anyone else. Is there any place where I can get more information about franchising? The Internal Franchise Association has a catalog that includes various publications about franchising. For information about association or to get a catalog, call or write the International Franchise Association at 1350 New York Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. 200005. 202-628-8000. In addition, you can find information about franchising quite regularly in entrepreneurial magazines and in small opportunities magazines, both of which are sold on the newsstand. Are there any inexpensive home franchises? There are some franchises that can be run from home and which therefore may have lower startup costs since you won't be required to build or rent space. But most of the low-cost home business opportunities you see advertised are either turnkey, also called package businesses, or multi-level marketing operations. What is the difference between a turnkey business and a franchise? When you buy a franchise, the relationship is ongoing. The franchisor is likely to have some say about the quality of the goods and services you sell and the methods you use to acquire the products or provide the service. They will also collect a royalty and other fees from you on an ongoing basis. In return, they give you guidance and training as well as name recognition. A turnkey business generally does not come with the control or support a franchise does. Sometimes the company who licensed the turnkey business to you may act as a service bureau. However, there is no requirement that you do business with them, nor are there regulations requiring the turnkey company to give you a disclosure agreement like a franchise must. How much does it cost to buy the turnkey computer businesses advertised in the magazine? In 1991 and 1992, one company was charging approximately $10,000 to $12,000 for a package consisting of a microcomputer and other hardware for an entry-level telemarketing operation, plus business plans for approximately 8 to 10 businesses, ready to use ad slicks, telemarketing scripts, and sales literature. The business were things such as utility bill auditing, personalized children's books, scholarship search services, mortgage reduction plans, discounted long distance services, and other products or services for which telemarketing could be used to generate sales leads. 4 or 5 of these programs can be bought in packages without the computer for between $4,500 and $5,000. Are the turnkey computer businesses worth the money? It depends who you ask. One man from California claims a friend of his purchased a setup like this for $10,000 and got a computer he could have purchased elsewhere for $1,500. Some shareware several business concepts that didn't work, even though he followed the directions for marketing them. And 4 years worth of second mortgage payments that are costing him approximately $470 a month. People in other parts of the country have already reportedly difficulty making money using the business plan provided with the turnkey businesses. In some cases, they found that the equipment they received had limited capabilities and needed to be upgraded to work some of the plans they purchased. In other cases, they found that competition or cost made it impractical to work some of the purchase plans. Still, other people are reasonably satisfied that the combination of business plans, hardware, software, and collateral materials such as sample ads and brochures are worth the money. Note, take the time to find out what laws or pending legislation might affect your business plans before investing in any telemarketing equipment. In response to consumer and business complaints about abusive marketing practices, federal and state laws have been enacting in recent years to regulate the use of telephone lines to deliver commercial messages. Among these laws is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA, which was passed by Congress in 1991 to regulate automated telemarketing calls and unsolicited facsimile transmissions, junk mail, faxes. At the time of this writing, a provision of that law would limit the use of idle dollars to place telemarketing calls to customers was facing a legal challenge. If the challenge is overturned, however, use of idle dollars to call residents to deliver pre-recorded commercial messages would be prohibited unless there is a prior consent for receiving such calls, unless there is an existing business relationship with the called party. Other provisions of the TCPA require telemarketers to maintain in-house do not call lists, regulate the hours during which telemarketing calls, voice or automatic may be placed to homes, and ban the junk mail fax transmission. Pre-recorded messages would have to identify the caller, give the caller telephone number or address, and release the call party's lines within 5 seconds after the call party has hung up. Whether or not the challenge to the party of the law regulating the use of idle dollars is successful, state and federal regulations of telephone marketing methods are a concern to telemarketers. Does anyone really make money from turnkey businesses? A few people do, however. Like any business, it takes time, hard work, and some trial and error to build the business and make it profitable. Jerry Gottwitzer is the owner of a successful turnkey business. Gottwitzer was district sales manager for a large industrial chemical company until he purchased a turnkey computer business in 1990 and went into business for himself. After a year and a half operating a turnkey business, he was making profit, but not yet enough to pay myself a decent wage. Gottwitzer admits, I thought it would have grown faster. He adds, however, that it was partly his own fault that it took longer than expected to start making money. Instead of focusing on one or two of the plans that came with this system, he tried to pursue several at the same time, diluting his efforts. He also found he had to adapt and tailor the turnkey system somewhat. You have to look at the capabilities of the system and see how they fit in, he says. You have to determine what people will buy in your part of the country and what you are comfortable selling. The system can generate leads, but you have to follow up on them and to make the sale. The bottom line is sales. You don't make any money until a sale is made. It is mostly uneducated people and opportunists who lose money on business opportunities advertised in magazines. The amount of education one has to have little to do with losses, money, or makes it. People who lose money in turnkey businesses or other business opportunities generally do so for one of these reasons. They have unrealistic expectations about how much time and effort they will have to put into selling the product or service to make it profitable. They have unrealistic expectations about how much money they can make from the business. They salivate on cue, much to copywriters' glee, to words like easy, confidential, lucrative, and profit, particularly if the ads also include 5 or 6 digit numbers preceded by the dollar sign. They don't determine in advance if the product or service will sell and what quality it will sell, or what it will cost them to sell the product. They don't really like the product themselves or wouldn't buy it themselves at the price they have to charge. They discover after buying the business plan or package that the business will require selling and they hate selling. I seen ads for scholarship search businesses that could cost less than $500. Is this type of business a good one to get into? There probably are people who make money selling scholarship search services. However, many people who buy this particular type of package would wind up losing money. Although they get good instructions for conducting the business and a number to call to process the actual scholarship searches, people frequently report they have difficulty finding customers or that the cost of advertising makes it impossible to make money selling the service. One of the reasons is that scholarship information is widely available, often at very low fees. In 1992, for instance, one university in New York was charging only $10 to run scholarship searches for students. Even if you don't have a college or university near you that offers this type of service, high schools or public libraries may. There may also be other home or small businesses trying to sell a similar service in your area. Often, too, the cost of advertising making it impossible to provide the service at a reasonable price. Although some people figure they will convince PTAs or guidance officers to refer students to them, generally the PTAs and schools will not cooperate. All of that doesn't mean a scholarship search service couldn't work for you. It does mean, however, that you need to carefully evaluate whether or not the services will in your area of the country. To do that, you should work out all your costs and get realistic estimates of how many people would buy the service. Ask students and their parents where they look for scholarship information and what they would be willing to pay for it. Ask libraries, high schools, and colleges in your area what scholarship services they make available and what they charge. Determine whether or not you can offer more assistance than they can. Check the actual cost of advertising and make realistic estimates of how many responses you might get. Probably 0.1% of readers or listeners at best. Remember, too, that not all responses will turn into sales. Consider the cost of delivering the material in a professional-looking format to your clients. Compare all your costs to what your research shows you could charge for the service and the number of sales you might realistically make. By doing this fact gathering first, you can make an intelligent, informed decision about whether or not this particular business might be a good one for you to start in your location. Warning: don't be misled by claims of easy money or unlimited potential market for scholarship search business. In 1992, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, filed a lawsuit against one of the companies offering scholarship search businesses. The lawsuit claimed that the company deceived prospective purchasers of the business by misrepresenting potential earnings, response rates to direct mailing solicitations, the number of existing business licenses, and the assistance and the service licenses received. In addition, the FTC cited the company for the use of deceptive testimonials and endorsements. It is important to make thousands of dollars. It is possible to make thousands of dollars with little effort in my spare time, like some of the business opportunities ads promise. It depends on how much spare time you have. The two most important things to remember about opportunity advertising are: there's no such thing as a free lunch, and if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Remember, even though you may be able to process and fill orders in your spare time, you will still have to spend time finding customers and doing other routine business chores if you expect the business to be successful. What can I expect if I send for one of those blind ads that promise to tell me the secrets of getting rich? Many of them are reporters on how to get credit cards or clean up bad credit ratings. Some of the credit cleanup statements either recommend or imply you should lie on applications, which is illegal. Others tell you how to make money in real estate deals or how to start chain letters. Certain kinds of chain letters are illegal as well. Often people send away for the material out of curiosity because the ad has a money-back guarantee and therefore someone seems legit. It is possibly the curiosity seekers that keep these advertisers in business. Don't the advertiser lose money if they offer a money back guarantee and their program doesn't work? Not in practice. The guarantee is an advertising ploy that builds confidence and get the reader to send in money. Most people never bother to send for their refund if they don't like the material they get. How do I avoid frauds? There's no foolproof way to avoid scams. However, you can avoid many scams by steering clear of any business opportunities that promise unrealistic profits, promises you can become wealthy working a few hours a week in your spare time, has agents or distributors that seem more interested in soliciting you than in selling products or services, discourages or forbids you from contacting other investors, distributors, or licenses of the business, require an upfront payment before giving you any details of what the business entails, claims no experience or skills are needed, requires you to pay someone to get at-home work, and makes you an agent for a company that you haven't thoroughly investigated. Important warning: be very wary of travel agent opportunities. Entrepreneurs selling services as intermediaries have been sued by their customers when trips have fallen through. If you are considering becoming a sales rep for a travel company, check the company out thoroughly. If you have access to either Dow Jones News, Retrieval of the Genie, or CompuServe, you can search for back articles on travel fraud and get names of companies and their principals that are either currently under investigation for fraud or have been in the past. If you don't have access to these online services, your public library should be able to help you look for and retrieve information on travel fraud. What is multi-level marketing? Multi-level marketing, MLM, is a way of distributing and selling products and services through a chain of independent distributors rather than through traditional retail outlets. How does multi-level marketing work? Each distributor has two basic jobs: to sell the company's products and or services, and to recruit more distributors to sell the company's products or services. Each new recruit a distributor brings into the organization is, in turn, encouraged to bring in their own recruits. The result is that an active distributor eventually develops a hierarchical substructure known as a downline that looks somewhat like an organized chart in a company with a lot of employees. Each distributor gets a sales commission on his or her own direct product sales. He or she also makes a commission on the sales of the distributors in their downline. There are also likely to be certain bonuses available for reaching certain sales levels. Since each distributor profits not only from his or her own sales, but from sales of the downline, it is the advantage of the distributor to guide and help those below to succeed. Low-cost home franchise business packages and multi-level marketing. You have a distributor. Your first level is second. Your first level branches off to another second, and your first level branches off to another second. Okay, multi-level distributor hierarchy. How do people get paid in the multi-level marketing companies? Competition plans vary from one MLM company to another, but typically distributors' commissions on margins, a discount off the list price, depend on their sales volume and where they are in the distributor chain. In some companies, distributors earn a commission on their own sales, say 10%, and lesser commission on any sales made by people below them. They might make 7% on sales made by people they have recruited directly, 5% on sales made by the recruit, and so on. Thus, if a level 3 recruit sold $50 worth of goods, she would make a $5 commission on the sale. The person immediately above her, the level 2 distributor in the chain, and the one who directly recruited her would make $3.50 commission on that sale. And the person at the top of the chain, the level 1 distributor, would make $2.50 commission. A margin or discount setup would work something like a customer buys a product for $20, the list price, from a lower level 3 distributor. The level 3 distributor gets that product from a level 2 distributor at 70% of the list price and 30% discount, in other words, or $14. Thus, if he sells a product at a list price, he makes $6 profit on the sale. The level 2 distributor, in turn, orders the product from the level 1 distributor at 60% of the list price, $12, making $2 on the sale of the product to the level 3 distributor. The top level distributor buys the product direct from the company at 50% of the list, $10, making $2 on the sale of the item to the level 2 distributor. In reality, the level 3 distributor usually orders the product directly from the company. However, the commissions are structured as though each distributor in the chain had purchased the item from the distributors above. Note that distributors at level 2 and 1 did no selling in either scenario. They simply made money on the sales made by people in their downline. Had they made a direct sale, they would have made more profit on it than the level 3 distributors made on his direct sale. If level 1 sells the same $20 product directly to customers and get the product for 50% off the list, he makes $10 for each product he sells compared to the $6 the third level distributor makes. Is there a limit to how big a downline can get? Yes. Different MLM companies set different rules about how many levels deep distributors will be paid. Some key numbers of levels to the sales volume often set the number of levels some other way. In addition, the MLM developed some kind of procedure, usually based on some sales volume, that lets them break away and go direct. In other words, split off from the parent distributor chain and operate as the head of their own chain. Getting paid for not working sounds too good to be true. Is it? Ideally, the top level distributor is also selling products as well as getting commission from his or her own downline. He or she also supposed to be providing training and support services for the downline. Unfortunately, things don't always work that way. In some MLM organizations, new recruits are lured into joining and buying products or sample cases with promises of gaining financial independence and great wealth. All they will have to do is become financially secure. They are told is to work a marketing plan that consists primarily of doing nothing but recruiting others to work the market. Steve Bretz, a distributor for Watkins, an MLM company that sells flavoring and released products, say that some MLM companies promise people they will be earning a $10,000 a monthly income in 90 days. Since the cost of getting started is usually under $100, Breck says many people join because they have any idea what they have to do to succeed. Therefore, you see many dropouts. Before dropping out, some recruits find they drop hundreds or thousands of dollars into the business, spending money on things like samples, products they buy for their own use, meeting fees, transportation costs, promotional literature or catalogs they give out to prospects, and promotional tapes and books. Does anyone ever make money in MLM? Yes. Like almost any other industry or business, the amount of money that can be made is usually proportional to the effort, time, and commitment and planning that goes into building the business. Richard Suttle, a CPA who specializes in taking startup ventures public and who has done some work with MLM operations, says the ideal distributor is somebody who has the long view and the capital to back it up. They have sales experience. Dealing with or overcoming rejection problems is the number one problem in all selling. Bretsky, who says he just broke even the first year he was involved in MLM, agrees that long view is important. He says it takes distributors about a year of working $10 to $15 a week to be able to make an income of $1,000 a month. Where the real money is, he says, is residual income, which can take 3 to 5 years of concentrated effort to build. What is network marketing? Network marketing is another name for multi-leveling marketing. What should I look for in the MLM company? The most important thing to look at is whether or not you like the products the company sells and would buy them for yourself. People who don't believe in a product or service or think it is too high priced will have a difficult time convincing anyone else to buy it. Since your income will be dependent on residuals from future sales, you also need to look very careful at the overall financial stability and the management ability of the company and its founders. Obtain Dun & Bradstreet or the TRW credit reports about the company and try to determine if the founders have been involved in any litigation, perhaps in other MLM organizations in the past. In addition, request the names of the distributors and ask about payment of commissions and what they think about the organization as a whole, says Press. Since it will take 3 to 5 years or more to truly make any serious money in this business, you have got to be sure that the company will be there with you. Another important consideration is the buyback policy, says Sharon Hayes, owner of Ergo Dynamics, a mailing list company in Montreal, Canada, that specializes in providing lists of MLM enthusiasts. Buyback should be a minimum of 90% within 1 month for unopened goods that have an expiration date and 3 months for durable goods. You should also steer clear of MLM businesses that make specific income claims, says Hayes. Ethical companies forbid any income claims and do not allow distributors to use anything other than company literature for this. Do they really teach multi-level marketing at Howard? According to the registrar office at Harvard, the university does not teach multi-leveling marketing. How are MLMs different from illegal pyramid schemes? The primary difference between a legitimate MLM company and a pyramid scheme is that An MLM company makes money by selling products or services. In pyramid schemes, they masquerade as MLMs. People coming into the organization pay money for right to sell a product and the right to be benefit by recruiting others into the organization. Selling the actual product or service, if it even exists, is incidental to recruiting. Because of their emphasis on recruiting and other practices, some MLM companies that do sell products have been accused of illegal practices in various states. A few have been banned in some states. If you have any doubt about legitimacy of an organization, check it out by calling your state attorney general's office or city consumer affairs office. How can I avoid the pyramid schemes? There are a number of things you should do to steer clear of a pyramid scheme and other schemes. Watch out for claims of being able to make thousands of dollars a month within a very short time. Steer clear of any other company that pressures you into buying substantial quantities of inventory, either to join the organization or move up its ladder. If they don't buy back the inventory, you can't sell. If they don't go bankrupt, you will be out of the money you paid for the stock. Avoid any organization that requires any kind of significant investment to give you the right to bring other people into the organization. Watch out for investment or real estate management clubs where the money from the new investors wind up in the pockets of the earlier investors rather than being put into the actual real estate deals. Consider how much emphasis is placed on selling the product or services. If the emphasis is entirely on recruiting, the operation may be a pyramid scheme, disguising itself as an MLM opportunity. Where can I find other people to ask about the company or opportunities? Excellent sources of information are the home office and small business areas of any online computer information services. If you don't have a computer or a modem, try to ask people in your networking, professional associations to which you belong if they know anyone who has heard of or has bought into the plan or business you are interested in. Try to get names, numbers, and call the people and ask their opinions. Also check the public library for information, the Attorney General office, and the Better Business Bureau in the area company is located. There seems to be more scams than real business opportunities out there. How can I find a business to start without getting ripped off? Thoroughly investigate any business opportunity, turnkey business, or franchise you are considering before getting involved. Make sure you can answer each of these questions affirmatively. Do I personally like the product or service? Would I buy this product or service at the price I will have to charge? Would I be satisfied with the quality of the product or service? Do I trust the people selling the opportunity, the turnkey business, or franchise? Have I had an attorney review the terms of the contract if I had to lay out much money? Do I know exactly what I will be getting for my money and what I don't get? Have I called or contacted others who bought this business or plan and asked if they were satisfied? Will I enjoy doing whatever is necessary to sell the product or service? Will I enjoy this line of work? In addition, make sure you gather the facts to answer all of these questions. Who will buy this product? Be specific. Where will I find these people? What specifically are they looking for when they buy this type of product or service? Don't guess. Call prospects and ask. How many potential customers are there in the area in which I can be marketing the product or service? How many sales will I have to make to be profitable? And what will it cost me to make those sales? Does the product or service lead itself to repeat customers? That is chapter 4.